Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here. It's Black Magic Friday, the shops are open, and we're going to be sending out our assistant to collect some potion spells and ingredients and, have a little magical fun in Mandragora. In this game, each turn you are going to be moving the assistant that everyone is sharing 1, 2, or 3 spaces forward, collecting cards, and then refilling the spaces which you passed, or perhaps using those cards to cast spells. You're going to have ingredients, you're going to have spells, and you will have some special abilities along the way. You'll get extra turns, you'll have special, unique abilities where you can go farther, that sort of thing. Very light game. At the end of the game, you're going to score victory points for everything you did, and you're going to be penalized for anything you are still holding. So you want to be efficient in this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at how it works, and I'll see you back up here. To set up the game, we're going to randomize these locations in a circle, and we are going to put this character here at the one that has the little extra bump on the bottom there, going clockwise. And then every other place gets a card. If they are darkened, like these 3, they get a face-down card, all the other ones get a face-up card. And then we'll arrange the spells over here from the level 1s over here, shuffle them up, and then stack them face-up, all the way up to the level 5s. Then you are ready to begin. So on your turn, you are going to do one of 2 things. You can cast a spell, or you can acquire ingredients and spells. Obviously, at the beginning, you'll be acquiring for a bit. So you are going to take the character and move it to one of the next 3 spaces. You can go 1, you can go 2, or 3. When you get there, you will acquire everything in that position, and then you will replenish all the places you left and passed. If they are lightened, meaning a day location, then the card goes face up, like this. If it is a dark spot, then it goes face down. And it'll be the next player's turn, so you'll be holding these in your hand. And the next player will go. Perhaps they'll go to this one here, and they'll take that card, put that in their hand, and replenish this one, and replenish this one. And that continues until the game is over, right? When this deck runs out. The other option then is casting a spell. These cards come in 2 types. There are ingredients, such as the one I took here, and there are spells, such as this one here, which are going to have a numerical value at the top, in the top corners. To cast a spell, you are going to need the card itself that represents the spell, and a number of ingredients that match that spell. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a few cards here and figure out what kind of spell I'm going to trigger. There's also these Mandrake cards, which are wild, and they can take the place of any ingredient or a spell. That spell being worth no points whatsoever. And some of the other spells are also worth no points whatsoever, such as this 0 right here. But they can go up, as you saw the number 3 there in red. So let's say I want to cast, like I said, that spell. If I have these cards in hand, let's say I have these 4 cards in my hand here. I'm holding a spell in red. 1 red component there, which is some sort of dragon face. I don't know. This spell, and then a Mandrake, which, like I said, is wild. Well, I could cast a red spell with either 1 component or 2 components, because like I said, this one can be wild. If I do that, let's say I cast this one, I'm going to put that in front of me. I'll tuck the ingredients beneath. Don't need them anymore. And then I can cast a spell up to the level of ingredients that I used. In this case, 2. I could cast the 2 spell or the 1 spell. I'll do whatever it says, and then I'll put it on top of the spell I cast with the ingredients, like I said, tucked underneath. Something like that. I do whatever the effect is. Sometimes they're instantaneous. Sometimes they're there are some that stick around. They are recurring effects, and sometimes end of game effects as well. And at the end of the game, I'm going to score the spell and the ingredient. In this case, 3 plus 2 for 5 points. This combination to me is 5 points. Be aware, if you are casting a spell, you're not moving the character that round. He's going to stay put, and the next player might or might not move him. So that's basically what's going on. These abilities will allow you to take cards from the other players, give them cards, be able to have a farther reach. You can move up to 4 if you've got this spell in front of you, for example. things of that nature. One other kind of card that you'll see is these evil little fire dudes. As soon as you take one of these, whether you acquire it face up or face down, you need to put that face up in front of you, and if you have the most at that point, then you get this evil token. This is going to be worth -2 points to you at the end of the game if you're still holding it. But as soon as anybody else has the same number or more of these little flames than you, then they get this. And they'll be the ones holding on to it until ideally somebody takes it from them, and so on. So bad, hot potato right there. Once the deck is over, then there are 3 remaining rounds. The player that draws out the deck will take this. At the beginning of their turn, they flip it over to show 2 remaining rounds. At the beginning of the next one, they simply get rid of it. And during those 3 final rounds, the players can take a normal turn or they can simply drop out. Once everyone is done, then you are going to score the things I specified, spells plus their effects here, and then you lose a point for each color you're still holding. At that point, every mandrake here counts as white. It's its own color. And if you're holding this token here, -2 points for that, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. That's what's going on. That's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and go back up top. That is Mandragora. This is an attractive little game. I enjoyed playing it. Very light, very simple set collection kind of game, but a lovely package and one that has some interesting ideas in it. Let's go ahead and break it down. I'm going to start with the theme at the top. I think the theme is okay. It's mostly by the numbers. There are a couple of cute little touches like the nighttime shops, having cards face down. You don't know what you're going to get. That's a nice little wrinkle, a little push your luck to it. But generally speaking, the theme, this Harry Potter-esque theme, is not something I generally enjoy myself and something I perhaps now find a little bit tired. So I don't think I'm going to be showing up for the theme here necessarily. The aesthetics are very nice. Great quality cards, fantastic artwork. The box style is a little iffy. I like the idea. This is one of those slipcase kind of boxes in which this drawer contains all of the resources that come with the game, and then you slide it into the box like that. It's a lovely looking box, covered in good artwork, including here on the back of the slipcase, which is nice and doesn't really do anything. You won't see it much, but it's there. But this is the kind of box you don't want to have at the bottom of a stack of games. It's going to get some pressure here, which is going to squash it and then lose some of its integrity. You also have to be mindful that the rule book does not slide out of the side because it does fit right there, right? So, having said that, like I said, the quality of the components is very good and the artwork is just superb. I love that the ingredients and really everything in the game, all the ingredients of the same category still have unique artwork, which is a lovely touch. Something they did not need to do, but they went above and beyond with that. And it gives you something to look at while you're waiting for your next turn. Though the turns here are certainly very quickly. You'll have, lots of interesting little touches to draw you into this world if you want to allow it to work on you. The replay value, I don't think it's very good. I think the game is very samey from game to game. It needs a little something more. It needs a few more spells, maybe a little extra something. You use every spell in the game every time you play, and I would have loved to have seen a little more to that. A little, maybe you shuffle up a deck of level 1 spells and this many go in, the rest you don't see. Just to take away some of the predictability, some of the routine feel of the game after a few plays. The game arc. I think it's better with more players, though you are giving up a little bit of control in order to do that. There's some nice tension in the game. You will remove cards based on the number of players from the central deck of the game. So with 2 players, many of those cards are gone. In fact, an entire color will be missing. And therefore, the tension stays at a nice comparison to, say, the 4-player game. The deck will run out very quickly. But I do like it with more players. There's a little more going on. And you've also got that cursed scrolls and the penalty associated with those has more of an opportunity to sort of jump around between the players and add a little more spice to the proceedings here. But generally, yes, I do like the game. I think the end game is interesting. This idea of being stuck with cards you do not want, of having to get rid of a color entirely to keep it from penalizing you, it works well. That's a nice touch. Ease of play, also very good. Quick, smooth turns. I think there's one card in the deck, a black spell card that takes one of each of the ingredients instead of all of one kind as all the other spells, that I feel was perhaps not worth putting in the game. It seems like that spot for a card would have been better utilized by giving the players an extra spell with a neat new power, It's only 30 seconds more of explanation. I'm just not sure it's worth the 30 seconds of explanation for one card in the deck, So yes, I think I would have pulled that card. The scoring is very easy in the game. I like the way the scoring works, adding your spell book to your spell effect, whatever they call those. -2 points if you have the cursed token, and then -1 for every color you're still holding at the end. That works well. I do like the what are they called? Mandrakes or whatever, the special wild cards, the Joker cards, which can be a spell or an ingredient. I think that's nice. You do begin with one of those in your hands, by the way, at the beginning of the game, which I did not explain in the overview, but you do begin with one of those. So it gives you a little something, a place from which to commence, making choices. So all of that is pretty good. It's an easy game to get into. And then lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. Yeah, this is a light game. It's easy. There's certainly a lot of luck, but it's a nice balance of tactics and reacting for the game length and the involvement that you are expected to put into it. So it gets a thumbs up here. Endgame is interesting, like I said. The push your luck is especially neat. This idea of the nighttime shops filling up to the point that someone is finally tempted enough that they're willing to risk getting cursed scrolls in order to make out like a bandit and get a bunch of goodies. I really enjoy that. I think the game manages to put in a few spices and liven it up past what could have been a very by the numbers thing. Yes, more variety would have been good. Yes, that one card seems like it's not worth the extra effort for one card in the deck. But generally speaking, I think this game feels very modest. The game does not feel pretentious to me. It knows what it is. It's a light little card game. It is quick, simple, works for a lot of different people. And it allows that to work. It is, like I said, just very modest, it does not feel like it has an ego or come across as a pretentious design. And I like that about it. Mechanically simple, but engaging. Enough happening here where every now and then I could see myself sitting down and enjoying this game. I think the replayability is not really there. If you play too many times back to back, you'll feel a very flattened curve along the way. There are a couple of effects that stick around, like I said, but really a few more of those would have been good. And perhaps a little expansion, a little promo, a little something to spice it up just a little bit could have been nice. But as it is, I like it. This is a neat little game that, especially for fans of, like I said, kind of Harry Potter or just magic, young adult books, that sort of thing, I think this could be a good one. So there you go. This is going to get, from me, a 7 out of 10. That is a seal of approval. Lovely, very cute little game, and some neat things going on. Some nice, giving your opponent that bad token and sticking them with it, hopefully, till the end of the game. So there you go, everybody. That's Mandragora, 7 out of 10 from me. Thank you very much. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.